Hey, what's up, TenThumbers out there? I'm really excited for this lesson. What are we doing? We are breaking down how to create our own melody. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you the scale, I'm going to show you the intervals in the major scale, then I'm going to show you which intervals are stable and unstable in terms of resolution and how to apply that to create your own melody. Now this is part one of a two-part idea, because in a week I'm going to show you how to harmonize that melody to create chords to it, which means you can create your own chord melody. This is going to be very engrossing and very in-depth, so grab a pencil and paper. You're really going to need your brain and attention span for this one. If you want, you become a Patreon, get a PDF with this lesson, print out and follow along. It will accelerate your learning and provide a little more clarity, but I'm going to do my best to explain it with all the graphics on the screen, so you don't need to be a Patreon, but yes, it does help, alright? Okay, Skype Lessons 101 if you're interested as well, plus TenThumbs t-shirts, but if you came just because you want to learn how to make your own melody, that's cool, I dig it and I respect it. All you really need is that ukulele, brain and attention span for real this time. Why don't you go ahead and grab those three things, follow me on in it, and let's break this lesson down right now. Let's do it. Alright, we got a pretty wide angle today because we are using the tenor. I think that's going to be a little easier for us to explain these ideas. Okay, so this is part of two pieces that I mentioned in the intro. The first part we're going to look at is how to create a melody. Part two, a week from now, we're going to look at how to harmonize that melody, which really essentially gives you the power to create your own chord melody. But to do so, you need to understand melody first. Alright, so the very first thing that we're going to do is choose a scale. A scale is going to be the building blocks of which we create our melody. You are not limited to a scale, but I would encourage you, especially while you're just learning, to limit yourself to the scale. Yes, you can use notes that aren't in the major scale, but that gets a little trickier. So what we're going to do today is work with the major scale. That is a great place to start, and we will be working with A major. Now why A major? Because what I've done is I have really constructed this melody just on the A string. So I think it's going to be a little more intuitive and visual for you, okay? So the A major scale, let's look at it first. It's going to be open A string, 2nd fret, 4th, 5th, 7th, 10th, 9th, 11th, and 12th. Okay, now which is great, but if you just know the notes of the scale, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, I know the notes, but how do I get these notes to make music? I understand where you're coming from, Luigi. What we're going to be doing is we are going to look at something called intervals. So let's examine this major scale on an interval base, and instead of knowing the names of the notes, let's look at just the intervals. Root, or a tonic, major 2nd, major 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, flat 7th, the major 7th, and our tonic again. Our A note repeats, okay? Octave, 7th, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 0, or tonic, okay? So intervals are the distance between the notes. That's why if we were to do the exact same thing on their E string, we would get an E major scale, okay? Now, not all intervals are created equal. When you're getting into these, we start to look at things called stability and less stable notes. The most stable notes, if we take all of our intervals, let's put them up on the screen, and we rearrange them by stability. In music, you're looking for resolution. Resolution is the last note you play, and the last note you play can either be stable or unstable. The more stable the last note is, the more gratifying the resolution. So your tonic, your A note in A major is the most stable. The second most stable is your 5th, then your 3rd. Those three notes will be considered very stable. You can even finish a song on a 5th and a 3rd if you want to, even though it's much more rare and less common than the root. Those are great places to finish phrases, which we're going to talk about in a second, or start phrases, which we're going to talk about in a second. Okay? Then after that, the quasi-stable tones, you're going to get your 6th and your 2nd. Those are quasi-stable tones. Those are ones that I like to use for color. They're not very traditional tones to go to in the sense of resolution, but they are very interesting tones to go to provide color for your music. And then after that, we have our 4, which is very unstable, and our 7th, which is the most unstable. Those notes want to move. You use them in discretion. The more you get comfortable with using stable notes, the more you should experiment with playing with non-stable notes. Alright, so we know our scale, we know our intervals, and we know which ones are the most stable. What we're going to do is create a simple 4-phrase melody. And my first phrase, I have decided to start on a stable note and finish on a quasi-stable note, which means I can either start on the 1, 3, or the 5 and finish on the 2 or the 6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the 5 and I'm going to finish on the 2. Now, I made up that decision before I even wrote the phrase. So basically what I'm doing now is just playing around with notes to think about how can I get from here to here and make it interesting. So what I've come up with is this. Okay, 7, 4, 4, 5, 4, 2. All right, that's the tab. The root or the intervals will be 5, 3, stable to stable, and then we're gonna jump up 3, 4, 3, stable, unstable, stable, quasi-stable. Okay, so by finishing on this 2, we give our phrase a little bit of interest. So let's go ahead and play that phrase again. Alright, so that's phrase 1 of 4, or 25% of our melody. I'm going to build off our melody now by creating something called a motif. This is a great little trick. Once you get a phrase you like, repeat it or modify it slightly. So in the second phrase, what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat our first phrase. Alright, so think about some of your favorite songs. Do your favorite songs follow this pattern? Do you hear a lot of repetition in your favorite music, or do you hear a lot of movement? You're going to want to write music that is going to complement what you enjoy. So another good thing to do is to get out some sheet music of your favorite bands and do case study by phrases and by intervals, okay? Alright, so we have our first 2 phrases. Let's play those. Not stable, so it wants to go back, keeps moving. Quasi-unstable. So for my third phrase, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build off the similar motif, but I am going to change the last note from the 2 to the 4 and create something that's very unstable. Now, why would I do that? You're probably thinking, well, the 4 and the 7, shouldn't they be off limits? Shouldn't they be unstable? By resolving one phrase on something that's unstable, my next phrase, or my fourth phrase, my last phrase, the one that completes my melody, is going to provide that resolution. So my next phrase looks like this. Oof. So instead of that last note going down to 2, I went up to 4. If we play those 3 phrases, we get. So now I just need one more phrase to bring this bad boy home, and in this last phrase what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on an unstable tone and I'm going to finish on my root, the most stable tone there is. So this last phrase is going to sound like this. I'm going 4, 5, 4, 2, well, the tabs is 5, 7, 5, right? But the note is, the interval is 4, 5, 4. Then my tabs are 2, 4, 2, but it's really going to be 2, 3, 2. So we go unstable, stable, unstable, kind of stable, stable, kind of stable. Then the last phrase is open to open, or stable, quasi-unstable, and resolved. By finishing on that A, we've created resolution. Okay, so we play all 4 of those together so you can hear how that resolution sounds. It sounds like this. Alright? Okay, so what do I want you to do? Have fun with that, but really the goal of this lesson was to show you and work through an example together. I'm going to challenge you now to create your own 4-phrase melody. One that's going to start, A, choose a scale, step 1. B, create your first phrase. I'm going to challenge you the first phrase to start on a stable tone and then finish on a quasi-stable tone. Alright? And I want your second phrase to be the same. Exactly. Third phrase, I want you to start on a stable tone and then finish on a unstable tone, the 4 or the 7, And then your last phrase, I would like you to start on an unstable tone and then finish on the tonic. You can create those 4, if you can do that with these ideas, then you've created your own melody. Now, that's only half the battle. Next week, we're going to look at how to harmonize these ideas. And just like that, you're going to be able to create your own chord melody. But first, you're going to need a better understanding of melody. So you got that 1 week to do this, and in a week, we reconvene, and I'm going to show you how to harmonize your brand new melody so you are now capable of creating your own chord melody, which, as we like to say in the business, is pretty cool. All right, TenThumbsPro.com. Make sure you get your 10 Thumbs t-shirt. Subscribe and learn. Think about becoming a Patreon. PDF with every single lesson to print out, follow along. Skype lessons 101 if you're interested. Take these ideas to the next level. And until next time, everybody. Stay frosty, folks! Alright, y'all, again, happy to bring it to you, TenThumbsPro.com. Love bringing you these lessons that are a little more heady, as we like to say in the business, a little more cerebral with that cortex. So if you grab your medulla oblongata and broke it down, that is awesome. My mom's always told me crocodiles are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush to brush them, alright? Not that medulla oblongata. Happy to bring it to you, TenThumbsPro.com. Subscribe and learn because all we're doing is having fun.